but there is no sunshine. Nothing but clouds, and it's dark in my heart, and it feels like a cold night. Today's a new day, but where are my blue skies? Where is the love and the joy that was promised me? Tell me it's alright. I almost gave up, but a power that I can't explain fell from heaven like a shower now. I smile, even though it hurts me, I smile. I know God is working, so I smile. Even though I've been here for a while, I smile, smile. It's so hard to look up when you're down. Sure would hate to see you give up now. You look so much better when you smile, so I smile. Today's a new day, but there is no sunshine. Nothing but clouds, and it's dark in my heart, and it feels like a cold night. Today's a new day, but tell me where are my blue skies? Where is the love and the joy that was promised me? Tell me it's alright. I almost gave up, but a power that I can't explain fell from heaven like a shower now. I smile, even though I hurt, see I smile. I know God's working, so I smile. Even though I've been here for a while, I smile.
Welcome to the celebration, Open Heart Spiritual Center, Heartstream. And this is our anniversary Sunday. We are all a part of the great vision of our spiritual director, John Gilmore. And so let the celebration begin. Let us turn within. Oh, sweet Spirit, Mother Sky, and Father Son, in this time, let us all know that what is and what is coming is already within. And so we say yes to this celebration. Yes to hearing from Spirit in a new way. Yes to hearing the song of Spirit in a new way. And yes to hearing the word of Spirit in a new way. That we would then take in this new, of new beginnings, and bring about our Christ consciousness and our light in our sacred spaces in a new way that is inviting, inspirational, motivational, and transformative. All that is happening in this service is blessed, filled with light, filled with love, divinely inspired and guided. And so it is. Enjoy the celebration.
I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing love today. I'm choosing love today. I am walking the road of heaven right now. I'm choosing love today. I'm choosing beauty today. I'm choosing beauty today. I am walking the road of heaven right now. I'm choosing beauty today. I choose compassion today. I choose compassion today. I am walking the road of heaven right now. I choose compassion today. I'm choosing grace today. I'm choosing grace today. I am walking the road of heaven right now. I'm choosing grace today. I'm choosing light today. I'm choosing light today. I am walking the road of heaven right now. I'm choosing life today. I'm choosing joy today. I'm choosing joy today. I am walking the road of heaven right now. I'm choosing joy today. I choose abundance today. I choose abundance today. I am walking the road of heaven right now. I choose abundance today. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now. What comes from the heart reaches the heart. Good morning, Open Heart, and welcome to our Heartstream for this Sunday, January the 9th, 2002. This is a very, very special Sunday in the life of Open Heart because this is our official anniversary Sunday. Yes, I recognize that the beginning of Open Heart, we in 2001, a small group of us had started the process of visioning for Open Heart, what it was that we were going to hold the vision for, hold the space for as part of a spiritual community. And then we, on the first Sunday in January of 2002, we had a workshop. But on the second Sunday, we started with a celebration. Much of it was different from the way we do now, particularly now with our streaming. But even before then, there were things, and I look at the evolution of Open Heart and the way that we started on that Sunday, the people who were gathered, who were even back then a good cross section of our Memphis community, and people who came, some of you who are still with us now, were there at that inaugural celebration or service. And it just is really heartwarming and gratifying to see how far we have come in those 20 years. And here we are celebrating our anniversary. We know that with all of the things that are happening, we're not doing it in person, but yet it doesn't take away from the fact that we are still here, that we have done so much. And there's so many lives that have been touched and so many people that have been reached. We know there are people that have come through our doors that we may not see now. They've gone various places and are doing things. But we know, and as we would say all the time, that wherever you go, you take an open heart. That if you come just one time, that you go away from us with something that adds to your life and that helps you to know what it is to live a life that is anchored in the Spirit of God, that recognizes the divinity that is within you, that helps you to understand your true essence and the power of who you really are. And rather than seeing yourself and focusing on you as an unworthy sinner that is in need of salvation and all of that, recognizing that you are a divine being and that you are a unique an individualized expression of God. That is the message of Open Heart. And that is what we continue to do to this day. And so I thank each and every one of you who over the years who have supported us, been a part of us in whatever way it might be. All of what you have done is truly, truly appreciated and goes into making us who we are. I'd like to also make you aware of the fact that I emailed to each of you your contribution statements for the year 2021. If you didn't receive it, first of all, check your email. If you didn't receive it, then check your spam folder. And if you still don't see it, still don't think that you got it, contact me and I'll make sure that I get one to you if you want to use it for income tax purposes. But again, happy anniversary. Thank you for all that you have done. Thank you for being a part of this Open Heart Spiritual Center experience. 20 years. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing that we can celebrate today. And I greet you. I bless you. I see God in you. Our purpose statement. Our purpose is to create a spiritual community which recognizes that there is one presence and one power in the universe, God. Daily, we actively practice this spiritual truth. We open our heart space to each person to acknowledge one another as expressions of God. It is in each other that we see God.
Our theme for the month of January, New Beginnings. I celebrate new beginnings as I awaken to my true essence, which is God within me. I realize the power that is being expressed as me right here and right now. And so it is.
Good morning. This is a meditation that was done on New Year's Day as part of a yoga session. It's entitled, Who Are We Not to Shine by Mary Ann Williamson. The final aspects of the yoga path is Isvara Pranahana, or surrender to God. Faith, surrender, devotion. Faith in what? Surrender to what? Devotion to what? The answers to these questions cannot be found in any book. They are written in our hearts. They were written long before we were born, and we practice yoga to complete our journey back to the truth about ourselves. Whether or not you have a God or want a God is irrelevant. All of us have experienced moments of profound connectedness, the caress of a spring breeze on bare skin, the feeling in our chest when we look into another's eyes with love, the holy awe of gazing at a star-strewn summer night. There's a greatness right beneath the surface of everyday life, and every once in a while we catch a glimpse of it. Those are the sudden, lucid flashes when life beguiles us out of the prison of our minds and leads us right into the moment. On our mats and on our meditation cushions, we begin to experience this deep connectedness as an everyday occurrence. Isvara Pranahana is about making the experience of that greatness a priority. And why not? We can live in the light with the same ease with which we live in our darkness. We are surrounded by mentors, by men and women who have chosen to live life on a higher plane for a higher purpose. The music we listen to, the movies we watch, the books we read, all abound with references to the sweetness of amazing grace. This final moment in the 8 limbs of yoga is about allowing grace to happen, not hoping for it to happen, not trying hard for it to happen, but to let it happen, not believing that one day it will happen. This final moment is about letting it happen. It is about shining. And who are we not to shine?
Good morning. These are your announcements. Happy anniversary, Open Heart. Yes, that's right. It's been 20 years and we're still going strong. This is our anniversary Sunday, and thank you to all of you who over the years have supported and been a part of the Open Heart family and made this time possible.
Happy birthday.
Our own Matthew Lee has a show at the Dixon Gallery and Gardens that runs through March 27th. Connecting with Nature is a collection of Matthew's most recent paintings, largely completed during the pandemic, when the outdoors became even more of a sanctuary for him than perhaps ever before. His paintings, whether spontaneous oil sketches or larger compositions, are in many ways a byproduct of his experiences witnessing the beauty of nature. It includes a lecture on January 26th, a reception on February 17th, and a workshop on March 19th. Let's come out and support Matthew. It works if you work it. Join us for an 8-week course based on the book by the trailblazing Dr. Johnny Coleman. You might remember learning her story last March during our Women of New Thought series. She established what would become the largest New Thought congregation in the world. This book explores the subjects of prosperity, healing, and prayer as only she could. Thank you, Open Heart, for your continued support. Your 2021 contribution statements have been emailed to you. Check your email. If you don't see it, check your spam folder, and then if you still don't see it, contact me. At Open Heart, we power of affirmation for all of those that you see on this list, knowing for you your healing, your wholeness, your comfort, your strength, and for all of the needs that you might have in this moment. We're holding this space for you. We're seeing God already moving in your life, knowing that whatever it is that you might need, it is already done in the mind of God. And we extend our prayers beyond this list to each and every one of you that are a part of this Heartstream, knowing for you your best, knowing for you the ultimate in healing, in wholeness, in transformation, in life itself happening for you. And so it is. I'm always grateful to those who provide an affirmative reading. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And this is your opportunity to submit a video to Jay Gilmore at Openheartspiritual.org. Our daily affirmative prayer call takes place each and every morning at 8 a.m. Central Time. Dial in as one of our prayer team members shares an inspirational reading and then prays for you, all in about 7 minutes. It's time for conscious giving. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am richly blessed, creating a greater and greater flow. 3 ways to give: our Cash App, hashtag OHSC901, online at OHSC901.com, or by texting the word GIVE to 615-422-4292.
It's a simple song. Sing it with me, y'all. Yeah. 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 La 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 la. Yesterday, a man said to me, he said, "How can you smile when the world is tumbling down?" I said, "Here's my secret. When I want to cry, I take a look around and I see that I'm getting by, and I hold on, hold on. Change is coming, change is coming. Hold on, hold on. Everything, don't worry about a thing. Hold on, you can make it, you can make it. Hold on, hold on. Everything will be alright. Some people like to worry, some people like to hide. Some people like to run away from the pain inside. Now it's your business.
coming.
Change is coming.
Hold on.
Hold on. Don't worry about a thing. Hold on. You can make it. Hold on. Everything will be alright. When the troubles in life weigh you down, lift your head up. Yeah, yeah. When the love you seek is hard to find, don't give up, just be strong, keep the faith and hold on. Your change is coming. Change is coming. Hold on. Everything. Don't worry about a thing. Say hold on. Say you can make it. Hold on. Everything will be alright.
Here's a little simple song, y'all. When trouble seems like it just won't go away, friends got you down, things get bounced around. Here's a little lullaby we like to sing, and it goes a little like this. Come on, yeah.
In this centering moment, namaste. The God in me sees the God in you. And as God and the divine and the beauty of spirit has just run rampant through this celebration, we now come to this place to be settled, refocused, and renewed. So join me in just making sure your feet are down, you're centered, you're focused, grateful for all that has gone before. And now let us breathe in and out. One more time, breathe in and out. I am centered. I am present. We are one. Namaste.
At my former church, one of the things that we did that was much like many churches is that the first Sunday of the month represented Communion Sunday, the day that we would serve Holy Communion to the congregation. And what was customary for that particular church is that communion consisted of these small rectangular tablets of bread. They were small and compressed pieces of bread and these small cups of grape juice. And I decided one particular Sunday that I wanted to change things up a bit. And so rather than serving those small items, I wanted to use real bread. And while I had it in my mind to maybe use wine, I didn't think the congregation was quite ready for that step yet. So I decided to go with grape juice, but the grape juice we would have in big chalices. And the idea was for people to come down and to take pieces of bread, to tear off pieces of bread, and to dip it into the chalice with the grape juice, and that would be their way of taking communion. So I called up the local bakery, and I told them what I was doing, and they asked me, well, how many people are you expecting to serve? And customarily, we served a little over 300 on those Sundays communion. So I ordered enough bread to accommodate the 300 plus people and got everything set up. That particular Sunday, I gave the instructions that you were to tear a piece of bread off, dip it into the cup, and that would be the way that we would take communion that particular Sunday. And as people came around to take communion, I noticed something, that a lot of them were taking these really small pieces of bread. I mean, tiny pieces of bread. They were pulling them off, and I was saying to people, take a larger piece. And some said, but I want to make sure that there's enough for everybody else. And I pointed to the communion table where there were loaves upon loaves of bread stacked up. And I said, do you see all that bread? There is absolutely more than enough for us here. Take a big piece of bread. But many of them continued to take a tiny pinch of bread from the loaf. And I thought about how for many of us, that is our mentality in life, that we take small pinches from big loaves. Small pinches from big loaves. And I want to say this morning that we have said that we are in a new year. We are in a year of new beginnings. And I want for you and for me to decide right now that we are going to live big. That's right. In this new year of new beginnings, we are going to live big. Got it? Live big this year. So what do I mean? Dr. Johnny Coleman, in her book, It Works If You Work It, talks about the fact that many of us grew up with the understanding that we would have certain things that we would save for special occasions, for particular times, for rainy days, that don't use the good china, don't use the good linen. And a lot of us can remember those places in our houses. Usually it was the living room that was covered with that plastic furniture. And I know some of my friends in their homes, not only was the furniture in that room covered with plastic, but they couldn't go in there unless there were guests at the house. And so a lot of us realize and understand that kind of thinking, that mentality, that to save things for a rainy day, to not live in the fullest and not really avail ourselves to all that is there for us. But she says to use what you have right now. To use what you have right now. Put on your best right now. Wear your best cologne, your best dress, your best suit, your best shirt. Get out your best sheets. Get out your best linen. Get out your best china. Get out the best what you have. And act like that you are in heaven right now, because you are. To start with what you have and to use it. And she goes on to talk about the story that involves one of my favorite prophets, the prophet Elisha. And this story can be found in 2 Kings chapter 4, the first 7 verses. But Elisha encounters a widow who says to him that when my husband died, he left me with all of this debt. And the creditor has made it clear, if I don't pay him what I owe, then he's going to take my 2 sons and to make them into slaves. And Elisha asked her, well, what do you want me to do? What have you in the house? Remember to start right where you are. He asked her, what have you in the house? And her response to him was, I just have a little bit of oil. And Elisha says to her, well, what I want you to do is to go around to all of your neighbors and borrow from them empty vessels, as many empty vessels as you can get, as many as that they will lend to you, and bring them back into the house. And go in with your 2 sons and shut the door and begin pouring that little oil that you have into the vessels. So the woman did as he instructed. She went out. She sent her sons out. They gathered as many vessels as they could. They came in the house. They shut the door. She started to pour the oil that she had. And she noticed that one vessel filled up, and she started to pour into another, and that vessel filled up, and she started to pour, and that vessel filled up. And she continued to pour, and as she continued pouring into vessels and putting them aside, there was continuing supply of oil and continued supply of oils. So she ran out of all of the vessels that they had collected. And then he told her to go and sell the oil and pay off your debt, and to use the rest to live on. Now this story has for us some powerful symbolism and metaphysical meaning. And we have to understand that the Bible, as Neville reminds us, is about, it's our spiritual biography. And it's important for us to see that this is a story about ever increasing spirit, how spirit continues to increase. And it's about living big. It's about starting with what we have and using it right now. And so in this awareness and this understanding, we have to do that. I can recall in my father always being surrounded by books, even to this day. He had in his church a study that had just bookcases after bookcases full of books. And even now, those of you that have seen the Heartstream that I do from his home, it is done in his office, and there are bookcases behind me full of books, and he's constantly reading books, even to this day. He just celebrated his 91st birthday. When I was with him during the Christmas holidays, he was there doing what? Reading books. And a part of what I recall was one particular book that way back when I was small that stood out in my mind. It's a book that was actually published in 1967 by the famous biblical translator J.B. Phillips, that was entitled, Your God is Too Small. Your God is Too Small. And for many of us, our approach to the understanding of God is that we make God small, that we confine God rather than allowing God to be God. And so in this story, it's about increasing spirit. And so where and how is the increase in spirit realized, we might ask ourselves? That the increase of spirit is reached in individual consciousness. It's about turning our attention within and acknowledging the reality and the power of spirit. It's about understanding that within us, that there are resources, that spirit, the God within, is not small, that it is abundant and it is infinite and it is ever increasing. It's an awareness of that. It's an understanding of that. And as Elisha told the woman to go and to turn within and to become aware of the increasing power of spirit, we can look at here what Elisha means and what Elisha represents. Elisha represents the individual consciousness or the awareness, because it means the salvation of God, and it represents our spiritual I am. It represents our understanding that the consciousness of the divine substance is unfailing. That is what Elisha represents in this story, that Elisha is speaking from and speaking for the divine substance as unfailing. And the widow represents the consciousness, with the state of consciousness which believes in separation from God, the source of being. When we see God as being too small, when we limit God, when we want to put our own limitations on God, we are in that widow consciousness. We are representing the way that she approached things, that I don't have enough, that I'm stuck in this position. I'm stuck here. There's not enough. There's not enough to go around. I'm going to take a small pinch from a big loaf. All of those things that represent that limited consciousness, that feeling of separation from God and acting as if we are separated from God. But Elisha reminds her of something else. Elisha represents for her and for us something else. And we have to look at the symbolism of the empty vessels that are there. The empty vessels are the life centers throughout our body consciousness that have become depleted through wrong thinking, through the wrong use of our mental powers. When we focus on lack and limitation, when we operate from lack and limitation, then we represent those empty vessels. We represent in that moment those ways of thinking that are depleted ways of thinking. And they make us and put us in this state of mind, this aware being, where we see not the world of plenty, not the universe that is extravagant, not what is all around us, but we see it as being limited and there not being enough. I can remember a friend of mine in his sermon one time talking about going in a donut shop in his town, and there was on the wall a sign that had this slogan for that donut shop that said, "Wherever you go in life, my friend, whatever might be your goal, keep your eye on the donut and not on the hole." It's important for us to have that consciousness that doesn't focus on lack, that doesn't focus on what we do have, what we don't have, but to focus on what we do have. "What have you in the house?" Elisha asked the widow. And as he asked her that, and she realizes that she begins to understand that by bringing the vessels into the house, she follows his instruction, bringing the vessels into the house. And as she brings the vessels into the house, and she shuts the door, and that's important. Her shutting the door is important because shutting the door symbolizes and represents concentration. It represents concentration, that we have to many times shut out all of the voices that are around us, all of the things that are talking about how bad things are, that are talking about inflation, that are talking about the economy, that are talking about things that are happening with this pandemic and all of that. Sometimes we have to shut those things out and to concentrate and to focus on our inner being, our awareness, the fact that we live in an abundant universe. And even in the midst of all of the things that are happening, we still have source that is providing and directing and guiding and giving us all of the things that we need. So she goes inside and she shuts the door. She concentrates, and her two sons represent affirmations and denials. In other words, when we use the power of affirmative prayer, when we start to focus our attention and our intention on the things that we wish to experience and to have manifest and unfold in our lives, we take the time and we use those tools over and over and over again. We continue to focus on that. So as she did so, as she concentrated on the idea that there is more than enough, she began to see things increase and things unfold for her, so that as she used the oil that she had, that it continued to increase, continued to unfold for her. The oil symbolizes the oil of life, that vitality that animates and renews and refreshes the body, that provides us with all that is need. The oil that we talk about anointing and the Christ being the anointed one, the Christ consciousness that is represented by oil here. Our understanding that we are connected to all that is, that we are connected to divine source. So in this story, we get so many things that provide us with an awareness and with an understanding of who it is that we truly are. Remember, I started this message by saying that in this new year of beginnings, that you and I are going to decide right here and right now that we're going to live big. So in order to live big, it means that we're going to avail ourselves to the ever increasing power of spirit. We're going to get rid of the notion of lack and limitation. We're going to realize and remember when Ernest Holmes in The Science of Mind asked, how much good can you have? And the answer was, that is how much good we can receive. To go to the river or go to the ocean, not with a thimble, but with a dump truck or more, opening ourselves and availing ourselves to the unlimited, extravagant universe in which we live. I remind you all the time of how abundant and extravagant the universe is. We have evidence of it when we look at the billions upon trillions of stars in the sky. And when we look at the grains of sand on the seashore, the variety of animals that are around us, when we look at the leaves on the trees and the blades of grass and all of that, that reminds us that we live in an extravagant universe. No more should we take a small pinch off of big loaves, out of abundant loaves, off of unlimited loaves. But understanding and being aware of this, we can begin to concentrate in this moment. Concentrating means that we do the work of affirmative prayer, that we become congruent in our speech, congruent in our action, congruent in our thought. Keep our conversation in heaven, not get involved in those conversations that talk about how bad things are, but turn away from that. And even if we have to, when people around us are talking about that, say to ourselves, that's not my reality. That's not my reality. But we do the things that we need to do to constantly remind ourselves and to stay in the space and the place of living big. And then we use what we have right where we are, which means we begin to pour. And I can imagine that widow, that when she first heard Elisha's instructions and she shut herself in the house and looked at all of those empty vessels that she had collected and wondered, what am I going to do with this? I only have a little bit of oil. But as she was obedient and she did what he told her to do, and she started to pour that oil into that first vessel, and noticed that while she looked at a little bit of oil, that it was filling the vessel up, and the vessel filled up, and then she had to grab another one and start to fill that one up. And I can imagine as the process continued, that she became more and more confident. As a matter of fact, she probably became even excited in that moment, recognizing that I've got something here, that something is happening here, that God is working in my life, that Spirit is increasing in my life. And she continued to pour. And as she continued to pour, she filled up another one, and she poured again, and she filled up another one, and she poured again, and she filled up another one. I'm saying to us today that if we're going to live big, to just pour in your relationships, to pour in your finances, to pour in the area of your health, to pour in your well-being, to pour in your career, to pour in your understanding. Start with what you have and use it, and watch the increase of God unfolding in your life. Watch it continue to expand in places and ways that you couldn't even imagine. Understand that in this moment, that as we do this, this is what living big is all about. This is what living big means. This is the place and this is the time. We are taking this day, this year of new beginnings, to live big. And so it is.
There was a time in my life, thought I had to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, gotta let it go. Gotta let it all go. Are you listening? You got to let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the Yes, I'm only here for God. I know.
I thank you for being so real and touching me, letting me see what a beautiful